Hey guys, it's Kathleen. I was just sitting here typing up a post for the group and I thought, why not make a video instead? So here goes. I know this month has been particularly difficult for a lot of people in the group, and it was occurring to me that we never really talk about what makes this job so hard sometimes. And I think there are two main reasons why this job is so very different from anything else out there in the working world. And I think, first of all, this job is like transitioning, I think, from high school to college, where in high school you had teachers and parents and people who really kept you on point with making sure you got things done and deadlines, and your class schedule was set for you, and you knew you were in school from 7 to 3 or whatever it was. And then when you go to college, it's sort of like you suddenly don't have that boss figure over you. You don't have a parent who's making sure you get to bed on time, who's making sure you wake up for your class, and class schedules can be all over the place. And you have some autonomy in what you're picking as your class schedule and when you're scheduling your classes and what you're going to take and what your major is going to be and all those things. And it's very difficult. I was just talking with a friend of mine whose son just went off to college this year, and he was having a challenging time, and it made me think immediately about my own experience, which was it was challenging. I think that first year trying to figure it all out and figuring out how to get control of yourself and what you're going to do and what choices you're going to make. And I think that's very similar to this job. Most of us have had experience in the working world where we have a boss who or maybe even a team of superiors that tell us, what to do, when to be there, how much work needs to be done, set these goals that are very clear. But this job, kind of like that transition to college, there's nobody telling us exactly what to do. There's nobody kind of looming over us, making sure we hit this mark and that mark. And there's really no one way to do things right. Just like in college, there's a million majors and there's a million different kinds of degrees and, millions of colleges to choose from and ways to do it. And I feel like that transition can be both incredibly overwhelming and incredibly freeing, which is, I think, part of the appeal of this job is that we can make our own schedules and we can determine what we want to do and how we want to do it. And that's a beautiful thing, but it also can be a very challenging thing, especially in the beginning, which we all are. We're a very young team. We're all very new. You think about this kind of in the grander scheme of things, and we're all incredibly new. So I think having a bit of patience with ourselves and even just understanding that this is tricky, not having somebody when we've always been used to having somebody over us. It can be very tricky, but we're going to get through it and we're going to make it work, and we're going to enjoy the freedom that this job allows us, just like transitioning when we did to college. And we all made it, and we all made it into the real world, and here we are. So that's the first thing. The second thing is a little bit deeper, I think, actually. And I heard about this from somebody else once, and it just stuck with me. I have a psychology, social work background, so this kind of stuff interests me a lot. But this job in particular really can bring up issues that we have maybe unresolved from the rest of our lives. And we all come from different places, and we all come from different life experiences. And I think it's worth mentioning that the reason why personal development is so huge in this business is because when we are faced with that kind of transitioning to nobody over us, whatever, we could have in our old jobs and in our old lives kind of hid behind some of the things that we have unresolved. But in this job, it's like it's completely exposed. Like if we have self-esteem issues, if we have self-worth issues, if we have issues with relationships, if we have issues of needing to please people or needing to compete with somebody to get ahead or whatever, all of those things are completely exposed when you're your own boss and it's just you and the computer or you and this job. All of those things can kind of come to the surface. So that's why it's so important to do our personal development, because even though that's a part of this job that's kind of tricky, it's also an amazing part of this job where we can become better ourselves and in ourselves, and we can, some of these issues that we may have that are unresolved, this job is a means to actually resolve them and become a better version of ourselves as we move forward. So I think some of that stuff could be worth looking into within ourselves. Where are we struggling, and diving into personal development on those key areas, because because this business both gives us the opportunity for freedom, but it also gives us the opportunity to become amazing people, because we can focus on ourselves as we move forward. So hopefully that makes sense. And I'd love to hear your feedback on all that. Thanks.